Let's talk some more Broncos and Chiefs with the guy who normally sits in this chair right here. Woody Paige is in Kansas City with the Broncos. Woodrow, how was the flight out?
Oh, there were Kansas City Chiefs fans and there were Broncos fans all around me, and it was the most miserable experience of my life. Fans don't know anything, and I'm trying to educate them there because I've been sitting here all day in Kansas City because it's a long day leading up to night game. And Chad knows the many night games he played. I've been studying tapes of Broncos games, the last 7 games, as you can see behind me, and I'm thrilled.
What did you find out from studying that tape, Woody?
Well, Jetsons are still on TV on the Cartoon Network.
You getting some of that famous Kansas City barbecue out there while you're studying tape?
Yeah, I'm at the airport, Courtyard Marriott, and Illinois barbecue. I will have barbecue this afternoon, so I kill a pig that goes by. No barbecue restaurants out. Chad, I heard you the last few minutes. You were ripping on me that I go too long, so I'll short today.
Hey, is this a good signal? Should we keep doing this on Skype, or should we have Woody call in on the phone? What would you like to do?
It's not good.
It's not good?
Yeah.
Hey, Wood, we're gonna try the phone, okay? Because your audio is cutting in and out.
Oh, that's bad.
So we'll try the phone. Are we calling him or he'll call?
We're calling him.
We're calling you.
Right now.
Right now. Have your cell phone on standby.
Yeah, I couldn't understand what the heck he was saying.
He said that he was surrounded on the flight by Broncos and Chiefs fans, and it drove him crazy, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Which happens with fans, right?
Yeah, that's
right.
Fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How tough is it to play in Kansas City?
It's tough. It's really tough. That environment is tough. The fans are obviously loud. It's difficult to communicate. But I think I would even say there's a mystique to playing there, because your coaches prepare you all week for the environment. They tell you how tough it's going to be, and then you get in there and it's loud, and you realize, well, this is going to be a tough environment to play. I think it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing.
Hey, we've got Woody back on the phone. Woody, why do you think the Broncos and Chiefs have played so many tight, low-scoring games in Kansas City, despite the fact that these teams have had quarterbacks by the name of Elway and Manning and Montana, and I mean a pretty good list of quarterbacks. Yet the games are always low-scoring.
Well, generally they play. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, you're
yes,
great.
We got you.
Okay. Well, generally they play in December in Kansas City. That has a lot to do with it. It's always amazed me, if you go back and study the history of the Chiefs and the Broncos, that they tend to play in later winter-type games in both places. So this is unusual that they're playing so early in the season, particularly in Kansas City, because of the weather conditions that the Broncos usually experience here. I think that's one aspect of it, and I think these teams do know each other so well, and they have over the years. John Elway struggled mightily against the Broncos or against the Chiefs when he played, and I think it had to do with the climate, the conditions, and Peyton's had success the last few years since he's been in Denver. In fact, I think he's only lost one game in the history of playing against the Chiefs, including the regular season and the playoffs. So I would expect him to play well tonight.
All right, speaking of him playing well, we talked about the Broncos pass rushers quite a bit. Kansas City has their own set of pass rushers who can get after the quarterback, and Peyton was hit pretty hard last week a number of times. How do you take that, what you just said, you expect him to play well with this Kansas City defense and these pass rushers that are going to be getting after Peyton?
Well, I think that Chad and I believe you guys would agree that I think they're going to come out and do what they did in the fourth quarter last week, or just a few days ago. I think they're going to run the football, and I think they feel good about what they were doing in the fourth quarter, both with particularly with Ronnie Hillman in the game. I think that another few days of working Evan Mathis into it. I said yesterday I thought that they should work Max Garcia into the lineup during the course of the game, because they worked pretty well together, those young guys, during the exhibition season. But I think they'll try and continue exactly what they did in the fourth quarter of the last game and run the football. And once, as you know, Chad, once you run the football effectively, the guys, the linebackers particularly, are going to be back on their heels more, I think. You played the game. But I think that then they've got to be very cautious and careful. And you're always saying, well, you use the running game to set up the passing game. But I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try and do what teams have done to them in the past, I think, and that's shorten the clock. I think they want 8 and 9 minute drives in Kansas City to quiet the crowd, which is going to be they're going for a decibel record again tonight. It goes back and forth between Seattle and Kansas City, but I think it's going to be a loud crowd. They're going to try and quiet that by running the football. And I think as a result of that, he'll have a better game because he won't have the pass rush under center when he's handing off the football.
Yeah, that was my question. That said about the running game. What are you expecting from Peyton tonight? What kind of stats are you looking at?
Well, Mark Hisla and I mentioned at the outset that we were on the plane and it was evenly divided between Kansas City and Broncos fans, and they were all asking both me and Mark about it. And I expect Peyton, I mean, he's a proud guy. And I know Chad has talked in the offseason when he's been on the show with us that he thinks that, that Peyton's in decline, and that's what the national trending is right now, that Peyton Manning is at 39. We're seeing an old man. Well, I think he's a proud man. And I think that proud man has worked extremely hard the last couple of days to say, I am going to throw the football better. Maybe he's had a little bit more time to work with Emmanuel in a short period of time. Maybe Demaryius Thomas, who I saw getting x-rays after the game on Sunday, who has a sore hand, maybe he will be more involved in the offense. I didn't think he was a part of the offense on Sunday and begged out of the game 3 times, as I mentioned. But I think if they establish that running game, I hate that term, but if they get their running game going, then he will, utilize all his receivers and keep it a control game, not try and throw deep. More like an Alex Smith, if you will.
A game manager.
Right.
A game manager.
All right, well, speaking of Alex Smith, obviously Peyton is going to be the big story, but I think the second story coming out of Sunday's game was how well the defense played. How well do you see the defense of the Broncos matching up against this Kansas City offense? Alex Smith is a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I just thought that with T.J. Ward back, I think that gives them a little bit better situation in the secondary because he's a veteran. And even though I thought David Bruton played well on Sunday, that I think Ward helps. I think that the Kansas City offensive line is not very good. I mean, the Eric Fisher story, which we talked about during the course of the week, that the offensive line is okay. Chad, you watched them and you studied their tapes. I think it's an okay offensive line. Well, that gives Vaughn and DeMarcus, and I think they'll utilize and keep running in Shane Ray and Shaquille Barrett. I think that the defense is going to be very successful against the Chiefs. And again, I think we all would agree that it's going to be a low-scoring game. If a team wins 20, first team to 20 is going to win this game.
Woody, I know you've done a hell of a job bringing Paisley back in the Denver area. I see you're trying to do it in the Kansas City area. Are people asking you about your shirt?
Well, it's gone viral. It's gone international. Most people on the plane last night were asking if I was as healthy as Peyton believes, and I said, well, is Peyton as healthy as I believe? So, what I can tell you is Kansas City, and I've been out around today, Kansas City is treating this game like a playoff game. I think that makes it even more difficult for the Broncos with the return of Eric Berry, with the Chiefs coming off a very impressive win where they shut it down basically in the fourth quarter and didn't try to score anymore against Houston, with an Alex Smith who had a great game, I thought, in the first game. I think it's very difficult for the Broncos to win. I keep trying to figure out how are the Broncos going to win this game. That's basically they're going to have to shut out the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not going to happen. So I don't see it anyway. I mean, everybody on the plane was asking me. I said, I can't fix my mouth to say that the Broncos can win this game.
All right, give us a score.
17-9, something like that.
Wow, Broncos only 9 points. All right.
Well, is there anything to indicate to you guys?
No.
Gonna score well?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Not ready.
Hey, Woodrow.
If anybody thinks this game's going to be 38-35, they're smoking something silly in Colorado. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Broncos are going to have problems because of the crowd noise. I think they're going to have problems because their offensive line is still not very good. I think they're having problems because Peyton Manning has got to show something. I think he'll have a good game, but I think Alex Smith will have a better game. I think Jamal Charles will have a good game rushing the football. I just heard Adam Schefter say that finally the Chiefs are going to get a wide receiver to catch a touchdown pass. Well, I don't know that that's going to happen against this defense, but it's not going to be 45-38 or 38-31. It's going to be 21-20 or 21-17 or something.
Or 17-9. All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the same thing we ask all of our guests. What's your Twitter handle?
I don't know.
At Woody Paige. He's in Kansas City. He'll answer your question.
Thanks,
hey,
Woody.
Dro, enjoy the game tonight, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Yeah, even though I got to just mention, even though we're talking on the phone, I'm watching you guys.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, we've got your picture up, so this was very clever what we did here on the phone and on Skype. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Woody.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, and that segment brought